Hey, Stone Cousins. You already know what time it is. Animated horror stories. Animated horror stories. Doom, 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 doom. Where are we today? Our good cousin, I am our Scary Tales house. We stay here. We stay over there. You know, please be sure to go and subscribe over to their channel, like the original video, like whatever you want, watch it by yourself. Please feel free to go over there and watch it by yourself. If I see you complaining in the comments after I told you to go enjoy the content over there by yourself, I'm gonna be upset. And I might cuss you out in the comments. Because what is you doing? Okay, let's jump right into it. Y'all, please go grab a blunt, a blanket if you need to, if it's cold, a bottle of water, and a bag of chips so you could have something to snack on. All right, let's get up in here. Three true tenders. Three true tenders. Three true tender horror stories animated. Mm, mm, mm.
I remember swiping right on her profile like it was yesterday. The bright screen of my phone illuminated her picture, casting a ghostly glow in my dark room. Her name was Bella,
Who are you
23 years
ignoring?
old. She had an
Creeper?
enigmatic smile, one that seemed familiar, yet I couldn't place where I had seen it before. Bella was the epitome of ethereal beauty, a mesmerizing blend of grace and allure. Her eyes were the most striking feature, large and expressive, shimmering like pools of water under the silver moon. They held a depth that seemed almost otherworldly, captivating anyone who dared meet her gaze. Her long hair cascaded down her shoulders in luscious waves, the color of
Okay,
midnight,
Bella,
a
bada yada
stark
yada.
contrast to her fair porcelain skin. It framed
My
her
dog
face
thinks Bella.
perfectly, highlighting her high cheekbones and the delicate curve of her jawline. Her thin lips were curled into a subtle, enigmatic smile, her figure slender and tall. Every aspect of her appearance was harmonious, creating an aura of elegance and an undeniable magnetic pull that was impossible to ignore. Her bio was intriguing, but vague. Just a quote from a famous poet. She was really into true crime documentaries, preferred to Netflix and chill, and had a
Hey,
thing for good food.
you both are
I
on my
felt
watch
drawn
list.
to her,
You
somehow
being
wondering
you being so creepy at the house, because it's never what you say, it's how you say it. Like you could be attracted to someone, but for every detail like that's be coming off your tongue like that, like now I think it's you, Joe. You didn't give us no name. I don't think I didn't see it. So you can be Joe for now. And all we know is Bella's name. She could be the killer as well. We've seen that a bunch of times, but it's definitely given. He's gonna
if I have come
he's gonna
across
be
her
either a killer
before.
or a stalker.
After a few exchanges of witty banter and flirtatious remarks, we agreed to meet at a local bar.
He said
I
she
had
was
never been
familiar.
there
He could have
before,
tried to
but
kill
the
her
name
before.
sounded oddly familiar. As I
Why is
approached the
everything being
bar, a
familiar?
strange sensation washed over
Truth be told, I don't like deja vu with people. Deja vu in the moment is one thing. Like, oh, this is a deja vu moment. Ha ha ha. That's cute. But if you see someone and you're like, where I see you at? Get up out of there. I don't know. I don't ever feel like it's a romantic thing of, oh, look at us bumping into each other. I always think it's a no. Did you plant yourself here? I feel like people need to think like that more often.
me. The neon sign flickered, casting a surreal light on the pavement. It felt like I was walking into a scene from a movie that I had seen long ago,
It looks like
a
that.
sense of deja vu that I couldn't shake off.
You
The
see what I
bar was
say?
dimly lit, with old jazz music
Deja
playing in
vu.
the background, and a familiar scent of bourbons and cigars lingered in the air. The atmosphere was intimate, almost too perfect. She was already there, seated at a corner table, her eyes reflecting the dim lights. As our eyes met,
does
a
not look
shiver
smiling.
ran down my spine. She was even more captivating in person, her presence both alluring and somehow unsettling. We hit it off immediately. Conversation flowed effortlessly, as if we had known each other for years. Her laughter was infectious, and her stories were fascinating, yet they
Mm.
tinged with an eerie familiarity. She spoke of places she had visited, books she had read, and her love for old horror
And you
films,
felt like
many
a
of which were
collective.
my favorites too. As the night progressed, she made casual remarks that sent jolts of recognition through me. She mentioned a book I was currently reading as if she knew it was on my nightstand. She referenced a horrific dream, exactly like the one I had a week ago, a
You see?
chilling nightmare that I hadn't shared with anyone. Each coincidence was more bizarre than the last,
And
blurring
yet
the
you're
lines
still
between
sitting there.
reality and something otherworldly. When I finally gathered the courage to ask her about these strange coincidences, she was quick to brush off my question with a smile. But then she dropped a tantalizing prospect. She invited me to her place. By then, the drinks had clouded my judgment, and her
By
sheer
then,
allure was
by then you're thinking with
irresistible.
your penis.
I agreed, but I could not have fully understood the gravity of my inebriated decision.
We
The
understood.
drive to her place was a blur. The streets were empty and the night seemed unusually still,
A
as if the world
blur.
was holding its breath. But when we arrived at her apartment, a chilling realization dawned upon me.
Did you drive there?
I
Or did
had
she?
been there before. The layout, the particular painting on the wall, the shaman rugs with weird symbols, even the way the door creaked
It's
as
too
it
late for
opened.
you to
It was
have
all
it
too
talk.
familiar. She was quick to lead me to her bedroom and close the door behind her. She leaned in to kiss me on my cheek before excusing herself to fill us some wine. But as soon as I was there and saw a particular book on the top of her desk, I
magic?
froze. Dark Magic of the Amazons.
Get up
And
out of
in
there.
that moment, the deja vu, the dreams, the nightmares, they all made perfect sense. My memories flooded back in fragments, disjointed and hazy. I remembered swiping right on her profile, but that was not yesterday. It was the day before. The same bar, the same conversations, the same eerie coincidences. I had lived this very night the previous
Just the day.
day as well. But there was something more, something sinister that I had forgotten.
What?
My
What?
heart raced as I recalled the chilling
Get
discovery from the
out.
previous night that I had spent at that place. I had seen her slip something into my drink, an act overshadowed by the horrifying sight that followed. In her kitchen, amidst the normalcy of utensils and herbs and Indian spices, lay a collection of knives like one I had never seen before.
About to
It
come
made
stab
sense
you?
to me later that they were not meant for cooking, but for something more gruesome. And then I had come across the bones in her trash, human-like, scattered carelessly, which she had nonchalantly explained were for her dog. Whatever she had spilled into the drink last night was slow to take effect, because in that moment, I recalled saying to myself, "There's no dog in this apartment." Panic had surged through me as the truth dawned. She wasn't
Whatever
just a
happened
strange
yesterday,
woman from
like, we ain't
Tinder.
dealing with that.
She was dangerous.
Bedroom this
I
time.
had grabbed a knife from her kitchen, and naturally, when she came at me later with a meat cleaver, she was surprised to find me stabbing her heart. I had acted in self-defense. Before I could even think what I had done, I was quick to dump her body in the bathtub.
Why did you not
I
just
had
call?
fled, the horror
Come
of
in.
that night haunting me. But as these memories resurfaced, reality twisted in.
I'm sorry. I watch actual true documentaries. I watch so many true documentaries that every time someone's like, I acted in self defense, and there's evidence. We see the evidence. They could have probably tested your blood for roofie. You know, they would have definitely got the drug out your system. They would have tested, they would have seen it there, depending on which drug it is. You know, the the dark magic book, they would have flipped through it, seen some shit up in there. She had the cleaver in her hand, her coming at you, stabbing, you know, that on the floor with evidence. You know, you stab at her, boom. That was the cleanest scene for you to call 12 and be like, oh my God, this bitch just tried to give me and sacrifice me to the devil or something. Like you would have probably got a couple months just because they were trying to figure stuff out, but you would have been out. Now it's murder. Well, not murder. It's more like homicide because it was in the moment. It's just you cleaning up and moving bodies and shit that changes.
To a nightmare. If she was dead, then who was the woman standing before me with two wine glasses? I excused myself to the bathroom,
Uh huh.
hoping to make sense of the chaos. The bathroom was exactly as I remembered from the previous night.
Just empty.
Cold, sterile, and immaculate, except for the overbearing stench. And then there she was, in the bathtub, lifeless, just as I had left her body. The room spun around me, my mind struggling to comprehend the impossible. If she was dead, who was the girl outside? Returning to the living room, I was met with the most terrifying sight of my life.
Demon.
The woman, the one that I had been with all night, stood there, but she was different. Her eyes were pitch black, voids of darkness that seemed to consume the light around her. Her skin was unnaturally pale, and the wound in her chest, the one that I had inflicted, was a grotesque testament to her death. In that moment, the horrific truth became clear. I had been on a date with a ghost, the vengeful
Demon.
spirit of the cannibalistic woman I had murdered the previous night. She had orchestrated this nightmarish repeat of our last encounter, a macabre replay leading to her ultimate revenge. As she lunged at me, her teeth transformed into scissor-like blades, a twisted smile on her ghostly face. I stumbled backward, terror gripping my heart. The world around me faded into darkness soon as fountains of blood gushed through my neck, and as life started escaping my body, I felt her cold, purple lips kissing my cheek for one last time. Before starting the story, I would suggest you guys to go subscribe to the channel.
Please
It turns
do.
out that most of you guys who watch me aren't actually subscribed.
It'd
So,
be some
if you like
shit.
the content and want to support the channel, go ahead and subscribe and hit the bell. It's free, and you can always change your mind later.
Go over
I
to
was
his
fresh
channel,
out of
do all that,
university,
and then come
21
back.
years of age, and finally single. I was in my flat reading over the final few breakup texts from just days before. Her
Aw,
name was
get out of
Emma.
there.
I stared at them for a good hour or so, trying my best to process it
We
all.
just watched another
Reading
story
through
with
them
Emma.
all, I felt
He
no
killed
need to
his
cry. There was no sadness or disparity
Her
left
name
within
was,
me,
the woman that
only
died.
fear. I was terrified of her. It had only been 3 days, but it already seemed like such a distant memory. Every single one of her messages reeked of manipulation and the signs of a true psychopath. The worst part of it was my responses. Pretty much every text I replied with consisted of, "I'm sorry," or "It's my fault." I never once stood up for myself, and even trying to tell her no would be enough for her to guilt trip me. One
Well, it happened
accidental
now.
step
It's
out of
over.
line and she ignored me for days, forcing me to come crawling back to her every single time. It wasn't as if I had anyone else to go to either. At the beginning of our relationship, she went through my phone and messaged every single one of my friends, telling them I was going away and not to talk to me ever again. On our second date,
If
I
you're going away,
remember
you
my
can come
phone
back.
going missing. That was probably when it all started. I could even see it at the end, too. One of her final messages read,
"You don't need anyone but me, Evan. I am your one and only. Now stop acting so ridiculous and maybe I'll forgive you, but you better make it up to me."
I could hear her in my
Gotcha.
head. Her voice was shrill and angry. By that point, I had already been trying to get out for months. I just didn't.
Y'all don't ever let nobody talk to y'all like that. You hear me? Y'all don't ever let nobody talk to y'all like that. Someone talk to you like that, you text one of them friends that was gone and be like, "Hey, I'm so sorry this has been happening." They don't answer, text somebody else. They don't work, call your mom and daddy. You ain't got no mama and daddy, that's fine. Just up and go. Because people love isolating people to try to get them to do whatever they want. And that's what she's doing to him. And that's what happens to people all the time. They isolate you, pull you away from your friends and people that you know. And then they, tell you, they feed you some shit. And then they get abusive. You didn't
have the
have to
courage to
either.
leave,
No
to
leave.
tell her what I really thought. I skipped through the rest of the messages, going all the way down to the final one, the nail in the coffin, the goodbye. I'm done, Emma. Goodbye. I read it out loud. I was so proud of myself. I was finally free. Right underneath it, before I had the chance to block her, she had already sent a reply back.
You've got some new bitch, haven't you?
Even reading it now, I still cannot believe I fell for her. The emotional horror she put me through still haunt me even to this day. It was like my life wasn't even mine.
Did you pull
I
it back
took
your
a
house?
deep breath after I finished rereading them all.
Crazy.
I then swiped off and opened Tinder. That was my freedom. I swiped left, right, etc. My inbox was filled with messages, new people. God, it had been so long. My eyes were in
Be careful.
total awe at just how many women there were, all of them so beautiful. But deep down, I still struggled with the fact that any one of them could be another Emma. Looks mean nothing when the inside is rotten. However, I refused to let the memory of Emma
That's a
ruin
fact.
any more of my life than it had done already. I had a date the following week. Her name was Libby. A week later, I found myself sitting across from Libby in an Italian restaurant, gorging on pizza. The restaurant was close to both of our homes, so we didn't have a train or a bus to catch, so the stress was light.
What's gonna
We
happen
spent
to
the
Libby?
whole of the night laughing.
I bet you $5 something happens to Libby. Put it in the comments below if you bet me. Oh.
The date really couldn't have gone any better. That was and talking. The date really couldn't have gone any better. That was until I turned around, looking for a waiter to get us another drink. My eyes immediately locked on a familiar face pressed up against the window
Not
outside.
the window.
I blinked, too stunned to speak. Then they vanished. My heart rate soared. I needed a moment. Excuse me, Libby. I'm just gonna head to the toilet.
No worries. Don't be too long. Our dessert will be here soon.
She smiled at me, and for a moment I felt safe again. I walked off in the direction of the toilet. My expression had dropped the instant I turned around. Emma was there. I remember trying to cover my cheek as a few tears had begun drooling down it. Once inside, I tried to take a deep breath, wash my face, anything to slow myself down. I was already sweating heavily from the armpits. I needed to regain control. But just as I went to dip my face below the tap, the sound of heavy feminine breathing started from within one of the stalls. Slowly, I began to lift my head to face the mirror. The second my eyes leveled with it, I saw a window at the top of the closed stall. It was wide open.
Get out of
I
there.
saw my
Don't
face
stab
drop.
you.
My eyes started watering. My entire body froze.
I told you, Evan. I told you no others.
A voice came from within the stall. It was full of bloodlust. I began to back away, but it was already too late. In an instant, the door was flung open, revealing none other than Emma standing in the middle of the stall,
Stab
a
you.
knife gripped tightly in her palm. I
You
went
better
to
be
lift
ready
my
to
hands
knock her
up,
out.
as if to tell her to calm down.
Oh,
Wrong
you should've
decision.
never- very
Her
wrong.
nose flared, and her eyes started burning.
You broke the rules, Evan. I told you no others, and you do this? I can't let this go unpunished, Evan. You deserve this.
Get out of there.
All of a sudden, Emma burst out from the stall, knife in hand.
Evan,
she
move!
charged straight towards me and managed to plunge the knife right into my leg before I hooked her on the side of her face.
Period.
The force of the blow
Knock her
knocked
in
her
her
straight
shit.
back into one of the closed stalls.
Uh-huh.
Seeing my opportunity
Move!
presented itself before me, I dashed straight for the exit. Whilst limping out into the restaurant, I screamed for help as I watched my blood spurt all over the
What's
floor.
the other girl's name? Where
There
is
were
she at?
plenty of people in the restaurant, so I was quick to be helped. I pointed towards the bathroom, directing some of the men to keep the door shut so she couldn't get out again.
She's
Fortunately,
out of the
Libby had seen
window.
me and was already on the phone with
Libby,
the police.
all right.
An ambulance was on the way too. Once my leg was wrapped up to stop myself from bleeding out, they arrived all at once, flooding the place with flashes of blue and yellows. I watched as the police stormed the bathroom.
She's
Finally,
out of the window.
it had to be over now. But to my utter surprise, they came out with her body. She'd slit her throat.
Oh!
She was dead. Since that day, my physical wounds
Emma,
have healed.
it's never
but
that
as
serious.
for my mind, well, the trauma won't even leave me. Libby and I are together now. I'm finally happy. I'm mostly happy. Every night I go to sleep, Emma is staring at me. There's blood dripping from her throat. She's smiling at me. I won't ever be free.
You just have to have someone come and
I never
that
thought I'd
out.
end up in a situation like this, hiding from the public eye like a creep. Funnily
Are
enough,
you a creep?
it all started with me getting Tinder. I'd just gotten out of a serious relationship. I spent 10 years of my life with Tanya. She had once been everything to me, only for her charm to fade rapidly when I realized it had all been a lie.
It
Still,
is that way.
that's a story for another day. In the
That's
end,
not the story?
it was the app that had forsaken me.
Okay.
I'd used it before, albeit somewhat clumsily. I wasn't really the type of guy to just go up to a woman and ask her out, which somehow translated to me being awkward online as well.
No,
But that
poor
didn't
you.
matter to me. I wanted companionship. However, it didn't come without any hurdles. Tanya, she's always been scarily good at tracking my online activity down after all.
Oh, that's your ex, right?
Just let me see you one more time.
She even called for a wellness check at my old job.
The
No.
police said you don't work at the office anymore. Are you okay? Let me see you.
You've blocked Tanya from contacting you. To unblock her, I kept ignoring her. And finally, after a few days, she gave up. I couldn't keep on living with her chasing me around like that. I needed to be able to do things. And so, I trusted that Tinder would match me with other people. People who would learn to appreciate me. Liz likes you. Sarah likes you. Effie likes you.
Okay.
I sought out the embrace of someone who
That
could
is
accept
everywhere.
me for who I was. A few weeks were spent like that, with me running after women who'd never give me the time of day. One was more beautiful than the other, but they all seemed to be just messing with me. Tracy likes you.
Gosh, can you get any more boring? I feel like I'm talking to a wall. I thought a drummer would at least know how to talk to people. Sorry,
Don't
but
be
I'm
rude.
allergic to cats and lazy people. Bye, just bye.
Tracy was everything I wanted.
Hey, I know that this sounds a little silly, but I saw that you have a cat in your pictures. I recently lost my cat after 10 years, so that warmed my heart.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, Whiskers is getting a bit old, but she's great. She's missing her mom, though. I deleted what I'd written as quickly as I typed it, telling myself that this wasn't about Tanya. No, this was about me and Whiskers. She could use some love from others, though.
Really?
Yeah, we moved to a smaller place recently with her, so she's been a bit antsy, to be honest.
Oh, I see. Maybe she needs a garden to roam. You could always bring her to my place. My Whiskers used to love running around in there.
Her cat was called Whiskers, too? What a coincidence, I thought. I guess. I let out a sigh. I liked where the conversation was going, but I just
That just
didn't
gave
really
crazy
know
from the
how to keep
beginning.
it going. I knew that it was expected of me, and yet
So, Tom, you didn't say much about yourself on your profile. What big secrets are you hiding?
saved by an angel, I thought. Though the question made me a bit nervous. Not much, to be honest. I'm unemployed at the moment, but seeking a job soon. I, had some rough times.
Oh, I see. Would you like to talk about it? I can always go over to your place and comfort you.
No,
Maybe not yet. Sorry, it's just that I don't know you very well, and
exactly.
That's okay. I understand.
Trying to get
I
up
guess
in
you're
your house.
smarter than I gave you credit for.
nothing came after that. I wanted to punch myself in the face. Tracy sounded perfect, and yet
She
I
was
couldn't
going
even
to
answer
kill
her
you.
question without offending her somehow. Still, the more I stared at her picture, praying for her to send me a new message, the more I felt like she was familiar. I shook the feeling off. I stared at my screen, hands itching to write, but just before that, another notification popped up on my screen. Huh, that was more popular than I thought. It made me smile a little. At least I could forget about Tracy for a bit, or so I thought.
It's just Tanya on
Elizabeth was
another page.
stunning, though she seemed to be quite secretive about herself in her bio.
Hi, handsome.
As silly as that is, the compliment made my cheeks flush. It was nice to be cherished. Tanya used to be really good at that.
It's just her.
Hi, pretty.
Let's drop the formalities. Want to meet up?
I was
No.
startled. I knew that Tinder was full of people like her, who wanted nothing more but quick love, but I was a bit worried. Still, I was desperate to at least meet up with some people. I've been very lonely. Yeah, I guess. Want to grab a coffee first, or?
No, I trust you won't do much to me. We can meet up at your place. Does now work for you?
No.
I stared at the screen for a second.
No.
Something about that message ignited that little warning siren in my head. I wasn't sure what it was, but I wanted to be cautious. Still, I didn't want another conversation to end so abruptly. I guess.
Awesome. I'll set out now.
I quickly typed where I lived into the app, deciding that Eliza must have forgotten to ask for it. That perhaps should have been my clue to run away.
Why would you
But I
still
was
send
so lonely.
On my way to see you, handsome.
Huh? I remember confusion as Tracy messaged me right after my last awkward attempt to talk to her. Maybe she sent it to the wrong person, I wondered. Still, she'd blocked me. Sorry, wrong.
Is it though, Tommy?
Something snapped in me then. I wasn't sure what it was just yet. One minute I was giddy, getting ready for my date. The next, worried. Are you playing with me? Do I seem that desperate?
No, my love. I'm the desperate one.
What? Only a few seconds later, Tracy sent me a message. But the picture wasn't of her. No, it was Tanya holding my cat.
Poor Whiskers snuck out again. Don't worry, I'm bringing her back in.
Tanya.
Yes, my love? Yes, my love? Gosh, you're still as clueless as you used to be. So innocent. So silly. Don't worry, I'm almost home. Whiskers still knows her mommy. Thanks for letting me back in your heart after last time.
You got your
I
cat.
needed to run, but I heard the door slam shut loudly. Was she in my apartment? But how? Had she found my keys?
Like,
Tommy, where are you?
you're gonna have to beat
Tanya
her up or
looked
something.
different from how she used to.
Whoa.
Her hair was unkempt, her bloodshot eyes. There was a tremor to her hands as she stuck her head in through the door, rotting teeth curling into a disgusting grin.
Bro, did
She
you bring
held
my
a
cat?
knife above her head and a pair of handcuffs in the other.
What do you have a
I've
knife
looked for you all
for?
over the place, and now I have you. I can bind you to me forever.
I don't know how, but I managed
Good
to push
shit,
her away,
'cause
her
you
frail
had to.
bones creaking as I pressed her into the wall. I wanted to punch her, and so I did, and then I ran. It's all been just an elaborate ruse and nothing else. Only Tanya was foolish enough to care about me, but I didn't care.
There's
I did
so
what I
many
had
other
to
people.
and then ran out as far as I could. And now I don't think anyone could find me. I live in the forest like some animal. Somehow, I still hope that someone will seek me out.
Poor him. Cause ain't no way. All of these could honestly just be crazy exes. Like, what? All of these were crazy ex stories. Number one, he met old girl at the, he met old girl already. She tried to kill him. But not really an ex, but she tried to kill him. Boom. Second one, crazy ex. Trying to be controlling. He leave her. He dated months later. It wasn't just the next day. Even though to my eye, it definitely looked, the way they was explained, it could have been the next day. but it was not. And then last one, did he say what happened? All I know is that they wasn't together no more. Things were supposed to be ending. Don't be popping up at nobody's house. That's rude. And don't call their job. That's ruder. About to get me in trouble at my 9 to 5 because you want to sit there. You messed up. Talking about some, I called the police. They said you don't work there. Leave him alone. He's running from you. Coming in there looking all sick. Where's the cat? Where's the cat? Let me know if you bet me in story 2. If you bet me that Libby was gonna get got, because I definitely thought she was, it would have been smarter for her to catch Libby on her way home, because it was both, he said that they both lived in next to the restaurant. It was, it was too soon. He was still getting over Emma. He wasn't gonna ask her to go to his house, or wasn't gonna accept her asking him to go to, hers. He wasn't. He was just gonna go home. So she could have just caught Libby on the way home, bow, and then get him after, but she tried to get him in the bathroom. Insane. Did you bet me? Did you think Libby was gonna get got? Because I did. Let me know what you thought. As always, please like the video. Please comment something. Say hey. Say you miss me. When's your birthday? Mine just passed. What time you seeing this? Say something. Are you seeing it when it's right posted? Are you seeing it 2 days later? Like, say something. Go to IMR. Make sure you subscribe over there. Have you been watching videos over there? Let me know in the comments. All of these questions you can answer. Until next time, you guys, I love you. Bye.